In this video, I will cover how I set up the Adobe Photoshop workspace. You will need to open a file to get started. It doesn't matter what type of image file you open to begin. I begin with a drawing by the great Jen Ski from her Mid-Century Modern Mania book. I will cover the basics for setting up the drawing environment for an optimal workflow. It's not really possible to cover all of the Adobe Photoshop preferences in this video, and just know that you can add to it as you work. Let's start with Photoshop panel tools and commands. All the panels are located in the window pull-down menu. Let's start with the absolute necessities of any working file in Photoshop. Go to the window pull-down menu to Workplace, and then to the flyout from Workspace to Essentials, which should be the default. Next, assess which Photoshop panels are already open. You will know this by the check mark next to the name. On my screen, you see a check mark next to the Layers panel, meaning that it has already been deployed on my workspace. So if you want to deploy a panel, pick on it. Notice something interesting here. The History panel and the Swatches panel are not checked, but you can clearly see them on my screen. Further, if I pick on the History panel, the Layers panel becomes unchecked under the window pull-down menu, even though I can still see it on my workspace. So why is that? The reason is that I have rafted my panels together so that they take up less space. I can pick on the tab and drag them out so they are floating independently. Or I can pick on the tab and drag them back together so they are rafted again. When the panels are rafted together, only the panel that is visible on top of the grouping will have a check mark in the window pull-down menu. To make a duplicate copy of the background layer, pick on it to make it current. And then type the quick key command stroke, Control J if you're on a PC, or Command J if you're on a Mac. Alternatively, you can also make a duplicate layer by dragging the background layer to the plus sign located at the bottom of the layer panel. Moving on, there is one rule you must adhere to if you work with a duplicate background layer, which is that only one background layer can be visible at a time. With this in mind, turn off the visibility of the original background layer. Make the background copy layer the current layer by picking on it. I'm going to set up a few very basic settings under Adobe Photoshop's Preferences. To get this dialog box, type the quick key command Control K for a PC or Command K for a Mac. On the left-hand side, you'll see the navigation band. I'm going to pick on Workspace first. These are the settings that you will see in my videos. Under Workspace and under Options, one of the things that students ask me the most is, how can I make my tabs larger? This is where you can check large tabs. Another thing under More Options is disable or uncheck Enable Narrow Options bar. If this is checked, then you're only going to be able to see the symbols on the Options panel and not the words. And it could be frustrating for a beginning student not to be able to have the same words that you see in my videos on your screen. This is typical if you're working on a laptop computer. So I have both of these options unchecked. Under the Tools category, a big assistance for beginning students is to have Show Tooltips and Show Rich Tooltips checked. Show Rich Tooltips is cool because when you hover over a tool on the main toolbar, this setting will identify the tool and provide a quick video demonstration of it. Some of my videos have this turned on and some have the feature turned off. The last setting in Preferences that I want to bring your attention to is under Performance and History States. Let's bump up the amount of recorded history states from 50 to 100. I don't recommend bumping it up anymore unless you have a really good sufficient amount of memory on your computer. And that's it.